Body camera footage capturing the moment law enforcement officers arrested a suspect in what the FBI describes as an apparent assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump.
We're here to announce that Ryan Wesley Routh, 58 years old, of Hawaii, has been charged.
And later, law enforcement descending on his home in North Carolina, searching by flashlight. The 58-year-old suspect, Ryan Wesley Routh, seen leaving federal court this morning after his initial appearance.
Take a look at what happened.
Just 2 months after former President Trump's first assassination attempt at a rally in Pennsylvania, now again facing another at his West Palm Beach golf club. This time, authorities say the suspect fired no shots and Trump was uninjured. According to investigators, cell phone records show that Ryan Routh was waiting roughly 12 hours in this area near the 6th hole along the tree line of the Trump International Golf Club. Trump was moving across the fairway near the 5th hole when a Secret Service agent, one hole ahead, called out "gun."
The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agents.
Secret Service immediately surrounding Trump and taking him to a safe location. ABC's Rachel Scott was on the scene today.
Officials say that one of the most challenging parts of this golf course are these hedges right here. The golf course is just over those hedges, and you can see down there, that is the area where police believe that the suspected gunman entered on the public side of the road. They say that once he crawled inside of those hedges, he was essentially out of sight. Then that is when the Secret Service agents spotted a barrel of a rifle sticking out of the bushes, then fired multiple rounds, sending the suspect fleeing into the street. He ultimately got inside that vehicle and tried to escape.
Investigators found a loaded SKS Soviet-style semi-automatic rifle with a scope, a digital camera, a backpack, and a bag containing food.
Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said he jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great.
According to court records, the suspect was brought into court and faces charges of possession of a firearm by a prohibited person, convicted felon, and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number.
We have every reason to believe, according to our sources, that more charges are coming. Specifically, they want to charge him, I'm told, with an assassination attempt on former President Trump.
The charges include a reference to a 2002 conviction for possession of a weapon of mass death and destruction. A law enforcement source with direct knowledge telling ABC News that police in 2002 saw Routh motion towards a firearm in his vehicle. He then fled the scene, sparking a 3-hour standoff with authorities, who discovered a fully operational machine gun.
We're still waiting on the results or information from the ATF search in terms of where the gun was initially purchased. But this is America. Guns are ubiquitous, and people that are not supposed to have guns get them all the time.
Vice President Kamala Harris and Democratic nominee for president releasing a statement saying, "I condemn political violence. We all must do our part to ensure that this incident does not lead to more violence." Trump speaking out tonight on X Spaces.
He was very nice today. He called up to make sure I was okay.
Later railing against what he called the radical left wars.
The world is a nasty place, and you can see that with some of the things that have happened.
This attempt putting the Secret Service back in the spotlight after a gunman was able to get so close to the former president and Republican nominee.
No one, whether they're a potential assassin, should go undetected along the perimeter of a golf course that is regularly visited by the former president of the United States.
Immediately following the assassination attempt of former President Donald J. Trump, President Biden made it clear that he wanted the highest levels of protection for former President Trump and for Vice President Harris. And those things were in place yesterday.
They expanded the security bubble around the president, and they took other steps to try to minimize any potential risk of an additional attack against the president.
Last week, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal reacting to Fox News about the first assassination attempt.
I think the American people are going to be shocked, astonished, and appalled by what we will report to them about the failures by the Secret Service.
It is very difficult to prevent every potential scenario that could arise. And that is why the Secret Service and law enforcement focus on reducing risk. But we have to understand that there's no way to totally eliminate all threats and all risk.
Routh lived here in Ka'ava, Hawaii, in this quiet community. Neighbors say he kept to himself.
He's always saying hello, and he's a very good neighbor. You know, he's usually in front of his house and maybe, like doing his camper home business.
Sources familiar with the investigation told ABC News that the suspect's family claims Routh had a tendency to fixate on things. His latest social media posts focusing heavily on Ukraine. Routh traveled there. ABC News crews capturing him here in Kyiv at the end of April. In an interview with Newsweek Romania, Routh told reporters he was working with the International Legion in Ukraine to help recruit fighters. A source close to the president of Ukraine told ABC News that Zelensky had been briefed, detailing that while Routh did try to join the International Legion, he was rejected, according to a commander. Routh failed to pass a psychological check.
Why world leaders are not sending military is beyond me. We're going to have to elect new leaders the next go-around that have a backbone.
As authorities look into possible motive in the case, they're investigating whether or not Routh had grievances related to Ukraine that may have led to frustrations with Trump. But so far, those who know him say they never saw this coming.
There's no indication that he had any mean bone in his body that would drive him to do something like this.
Routh's son telling the Daily Mail, "I know my dad and love my dad, but that's nothing like him."
The easiest way for the Secret Service to protect a protectee is to ensure that that protectee is in a secure location. But when you're in a political campaign and you choose to live your life in a country club, it makes protecting that individual difficult.
Secret Service director at the time of the first attempt, Kimberly Cheadle, resigned weeks later. Today, the new acting director of the Secret Service defending his agency's performance.
And I commend them and our partners for an exemplary response in keeping former President Trump safe. I can state that I am tremendously impressed.
But admitting they need a, quote, paradigm shift.
We need to look at what our protective methodology is. We need to get out of a reactive model and get to a readiness model.
With less than 50 days till the election, it's another shocking development in a campaign filled with them.
I think it's fair to say that a situation where in a matter of 9 weeks, we have 2 people armed with assault-style rifles is something that has law enforcement beyond concerned.